115 years. The soundtrack of summer in St. Louis has been Cardinals baseball. The summer of 2020 has been unusually quiet, but that's all about to change.
Oh, he got it! He got it! What a play! Colt Wong! And DeYoung can change it with one swing. Out of here! Wow, wow, wow. Holy smokes! Wow! He crushes it. The St. Louis Cardinals, champions, National League, Central Division.
A new season with new rivals, new rules, and a new urgency. And though the old ball game might look a little different, the goal remains the same. What's been missing from our St. Louis summer is finally here. Cardinals baseball is back.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Baseball is back, presented by Taco Bell. It is a season unlike any other. Opening day in late July. Why not? We kick it off tonight as the Pittsburgh Pirates are in town for the first of three. Welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Dan McLaughlin. My partner this weekend is Brad Thompson. And Brad, no fans in the stands. So what? We've got baseball back. We are so excited to bring baseball back to Cardinal Nation.
You have got that right. They say that anything that is good is worth the wait. Well, we have waited. We have all waited for this day. I'm pumped up. You're pumped up. And even though this place isn't going to be packed today, I know everybody's watching.
We are so ready to bring you baseball. Away we go. It'll be a race to the finish. A 60-game regular season. Let's go. Baseball is back on Fox Sports Midwest. 2020 season kicks off tonight. Unlike a season we've ever seen. A race to the finish. 60 games. Let's go. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest.
Start this game. Across the line. Walks in. Polino.
Lorenzo King at the wall. Look out below. Oh, my goodness.
Sports are about seconds
Back jumper. Got it.
and inches
Did you see that?
and the blinks of an eye. That is what separates champions from everyone else. That is what writes history and rewrites it in our very lifetime. A second more, an inch less.
So close.
There was a time when everything stood still.
The game tonight has been postponed.
Through the cracks came light. And then everything became clear. 2020. Someday it will be just the blink of an eye. How humbling to think that what at the time felt like an eternity was only a single tick of the clock in the distance we've traveled together. We are separated by nearly nothing. We are in pursuit of the same goal.
Great play.
The sleep lost and the memories made are for keeps.
This city has gone absolutely wild.
That is yours forever. Because the beating of your heart, the adrenaline in your veins,
What a hit.
the fight in your eye is why we made it. Back to the field, to the court, and the ice. To write history. We're back. Because time never stops. And neither do we.
This is opening day 2020 from Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. We have been waiting so many days and weeks and months. It seems like an eternity ago, but here we have it. It's opening day, the Pirates and the Cardinals. It's 88 degrees here in late July. And along with Brad Thompson, Jim Hayes, and Erica Weston, I'm Dan McLaughlin. And believe me, it is so great to say welcome back to baseball. Wherever you may be, sit back, enjoy it, take it in. Baseball, folks, it's back for 2020.
It certainly is. And as you mentioned, we've all been waiting for this moment. We've all been waiting to see these guys out there in battle. And it does seem like an eternity, Dan. This is the defending National League champion, National League Central champion Cardinals you're talking about right here. It's been too long. I can't wait for this.
The Cardinals a season ago finished 20 games above the 500. Mike Schilt, the reigning manager of the year, as they went 91-71. And on the other side, a new manager for the Pirates, Derek Shelton, and he takes over a team that finished up 69-93 in 2019. At the top of their lineup, a couple of good young players. Kevin Newman, their shortstop, will lead it off, followed by Brian Reynolds, and then Adam Frazier. Their cleanup man, a great-looking switch hitter, big power Josh Bell. Colin Moran, Jose Osuna, Cole Tucker, Jacob Stallings, and Gerard Dyson. And remember, the designated hitter is universal in the league. So it's not only in the American League, but it is also in the National League. The opening day starter, the 24-year-old from Burbank, California, and that is Jack Flaherty.
Well, Jack Flaherty last year emerged. I mean, you look at the overall numbers for the year, 11-8 with a 2.75, but that doesn't even tell the story of his dominance. Had one of the better second halves that we've ever seen in the game of baseball. And I realize that there are no crowds here and there's no noise, but that guy is bringing it today. As soon as he sees that other jersey in there, Jack Flaherty is locked and loaded.
Flirted with a no-hitter on the eve of the All-Star break in San Francisco. Then in his next 15 starts, he posted a .93 ERA, and those are the 17 starts after San Francisco. It was just incredible. Look at the numbers. Just over 100 innings pitched in those 17 starts, and truly was historic what he did in the second half.
It's just it was sheer dominance, and you could just see it in his eyes every time Jack took the ball after that start that we were talking about there. You just knew that he expected to dominate, and he has been doing so. The biggest key with Jack is in the second half he dominated within the strike zone. He pounded the zone, and he's got the results.
The shortstop Kevin Newman batted .308 a season ago with 12 home runs. He drove in 64, and he will lead it off for the Pirates to begin this 2020 season. Jack Flaherty, 2.75 ERA. That was 6th best in all of baseball, 4th best in the National League. There is the first pitch of what promises to be a wild ride. That is the 2020 season, and away we go. Wasn't sure we'd get here, but here we are. And the 0-1 by Flaherty. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hyundai pitch arsenal.
Jack Flaherty with the very good fastball, spots it up to both sides. The slider that is devastating, the curveball. And we've seen a little more of the changeup in summer camp.
And a ground ball hit left side, gloved by Tommy Edmonds. Slings it over to first, and there's one away. Around the Horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, and this should be a bright spot for the Cardinals, especially with the DH and Tommy Edman at third base. Paul DeYoung at short, Colton Wong Gold Glove winner at second, Paul Goldschmidt at first. You got Yachty behind the plate. Then in the outfield, a speedy Tyler O'Neill. Harrison Bader, he just might win a Gold Glove. He's in center field, and Dexter Fowler is in right. The left fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates is Brian Reynolds, and he looks at a slider just a bit low.
Dan, that's about as excited as I've ever been to write 5-3 on a score sheet. Right there, the first out of 2020 for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Hey, baseball's back.
That's right.
Take it in. Fastball at 93 and a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Brian Reynolds finished 7th in the National League in the batting race. He hit .314 with the highest OPS on their team, .880. OPS on base plus slugging, and he lifts it in the air into right center, but there's Dexter Fowler just shy of the track to make the catch, and that's out number 2. Let's take a look at Brad Thompson's Toyota key to the game.
It is full steam ahead. In 60 games, there is no time to spare. It's going to be everything that these guys have day in and day out. We always talk about Major League Baseball. The season is a marathon. Well, not this year, Dan. It's a sprint. It's time for full steam ahead.
And as much as you can, stay healthy for every team, every player. Every team has been hit by COVID-19, and that includes the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're without one of their best prospects in Ke'Bryan Hayes, their third baseman. Also no Gregory Polanco in their lineup. That also lifted in the air. Backing up Dexter Fowler. Good start for Jack Flaherty as the Pirates go 1-2-3 here in the top of the first, and the Cardinals coming up in the home half in this home opener. And that means it's Colton Wong, the switch hitting Tommy Edman, the slugger Paul Goldschmidt. Baseball, you bet, it's back. Wherever you may be, isn't that a great sight to see Busch Stadium and to have the players back and in uniform, and a game that actually matters. I was doing a lot of the streaming games down here for Summer Camp 2020, and to see actual opponents in different uniforms, it's good, it's great. The Pirates in town. Mike Shilt's lineup. Colton Wong at the top. The switch hitting Tommy Edman. Then Paul Goldschmidt. The cleanup man Paul DeYoung, 30 homers a year ago. The DH Matt Carpenter. Yadier Molina. Dexter Fowler. Tyler O'Neill. And Harrison Bader. And the right-hander getting the call on this opening night is Joe Musgrove. He had a record of 11-12 a season ago, and really, Brad, struggled against the St. Louis Cardinals.
He did 4 starts against the Cardinals with an ERA of 10, so he had his troubles. But I'll tell you what, Joe Musgrove at the end of the season, his last 5 starts, he made some mechanical changes, made some tweaks this offseason. He's looking for more consistency.
And that first pitch taken for a ball outside by Colton Wong, who seems to be the man that Mike Schilt will go with at the top of this lineup. Speaking of adjustments going the other way, saw it in the second half of last season, in spring and in summer camp. 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, you know that Colton Wong is not afraid to attack within the zone, and Musgrove knew that. First pitch, he gets a breaking ball. First pitch of 2020 being out this long, and he gets a hammer.
And the 2-0 pitch to the Cardinals second baseman, and a strike on the inside corner. Jerry Meals, the crew chief, calling the balls and strikes. Ed Hickok's down at first, Jordan Baker at second, and Jeremy Rehak is down at third. The replay umpires Mark Carlson and Ron Kolpa, the St. Louis native. Way outside, and it's 3-1. This was an offense that was very sluggish, to the point that in 4 games in the NLCS they hit just $130. Now it's minus Marcell Ozuna. So where does the offense come from?
Yeah, they ran into a buzzsaw certainly, but the offense throughout the year struggled. They've got a lot to prove.
Popped up left side on a 3-1 pitch, foul territory. Moran puts it away, and that's the first out. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. You just saw Moran at third, Kevin Newman at short, Adam Frazier, the second baseman. There's the outfield. Bell at first, and Stallings, Jacob Stallings, is behind the plate. Around the Horn presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Reynolds, Dyson, Heredia. That trio is in the outfield. Here's Tommy Edman, who is 3 for 6 in his career against this right-hander with a couple of walks. Shift on the right side.
Dan, you asked where some of the offense is going to come from this year. Tommy Edman, in my opinion, is going to have a lot to do with it. Being a great table setter, shoots the ball up the middle quite a bit.
Little chopper. He may beat this out. Moran gloves and makes the play. The Hyundai pitch arsenal on Joe Musgrove.
If there's a pitch, Joe has it. Fastball, slider, sinker, change, cutter, curve. The top 2 are really the ones that you worry about with Joe Musgrove. He's got a good fastball. He can run into the mid-90s. Likes to get ahead and then bury right-handers with the slider. And that pitch has really emerged for him as his go-to with 2 strikes.
Paul Goldschmidt 6 for 12 with a home run and 6 walks in his career against this right-hander. 2 outs, nobody on. And he takes it the other way. Little floater sinking, but caught by Heredia. So the Cardinals go 1-2-3. We move to the second. And Jack Flaherty back to work to face Josh Bell when we come back to Busch.
Cards and Bucks scoreless as they move to the top of the second over at Busch Stadium. Cardinals opening night. Jack Flaherty on the hill. Jack focused on building on last year's breakout season, but he's also taking a stand for social justice and racial equality. Jack has made a conscious decision to use his platform to fight injustice and push for change. He's been very visible on social media. He said the protests over the killing of George Floyd struck a chord with him. He said this: "It was great seeing people come together and forcing a call to action." He said, "This isn't a time for sports to become a conversation going." Dan Jack said he's had that conversation with his teammates, and he says he feels like there's a sense of unity, and unity is good.
Here's Josh Bell, the cleanup man for the Pittsburgh Pirates, the switch hitter. Hit .277 last year, had 37 home runs. Majority of those coming from this side of the plate. 28 of the 37 against right-handed pitching. Hit .224 left-handed, .297 right-handed. And he strokes it right into the shift. And there's your third baseman, Tommy Edman.
Well, there's a reason they do these things. You know, you've got Tommy Edman shifted over there, a position that he's very comfortable with on that side of the infield. That's frustrating when you hit him on the screws. I think Matt Carpenter knows all about that over the years.
Josh Bell got with David Eckstein's brother, Rick Eckstein, who is the hitting coach. Those two have clicked, and that's when Josh Bell took off a year ago. There's a fly ball lifted out to deep left, backing up. Tyler O'Neill makes the catch, and that is 5 up, 5 down in quick fashion, Brad Thompson.
Well, you've got Jack Flaherty just pounding the strike zone. Pirates are trying to be aggressive, and he's taking advantage of it right now.
The designated hitter is Jose Osuna. Hit .264 last year with 10 home runs and drove in 36. Cardinals last year, their 11th NL Central title. Cubs with 5, Cincinnati with 3, Milwaukee has a couple, Pittsburgh none. When they've gotten into postseason play, it has been as a wild card. The 0-1 pitch, and his slider taken in the dirt. And the 1-1 pitch to Osuna. Swing and a foul back and a good cut. 86. Saw Flaherty in those inter-squad games get underneath the slider a little bit, and I heard you say, you know what, he needs to see a different uniform too.
Yeah, I think that was it. I mean, Jack has gotten to the point now where he knows himself so well, and he knows how to make adjustments, and I really do think having that hitter in the box, that'll get you locked in quick.
Yachty could not hold on, and it stays 1 ball and 2 strikes.
When you hear the term too, getting under the baseball, it's just the fingers kind of coming around and under, as opposed to just way out in front, snapping those fingers off and on top. That's where you get that good downward action on a slider, as opposed to the one that just moves left to right.
And again, the 1-2 pitch fouled away. Cardinals won the Central Division and 91 games a season ago. First time for both since 2015. And under Mike Schilt, they have been a second half team. Took over for Mike Matheny, got the team rolling. Last year, 500 in the first half, then took off in the second half. Well, technically, we're kind of in the second half.
I really don't even know how to look at it, to be totally honest with you. I just know this: I'm going to freak out after every loss, and I'm going to celebrate after every win. And at 60 games, we're going to figure out where we are, Dan.
And a ground ball hit to the shortstop, Paul DeYoung, across the diamond. 6 up, 6 down. DeYoung leads it off. When we come back, he had 30 bombs a year ago. Homered in the exhibition game on Wednesday. He's due up. Cardinals half of the second, no score. Paul DeYoung, Matt Carpenter, and Yadier Molina. 30 home runs a season ago for the Cardinals shortstop. 3 of the top 4 home run seasons by a Cardinals shortstop owned by this man. And this is StatCast powered by Google Cloud, and this is over Busch Stadium. He had some long ones. A few went into Big Mac land, or just even to the left of Big Mac land. He's got that sweet swing, the backspin on the ball, great power.
Dan, we've had nothing but time the last 4 months, so we've been spending it talking about Cardinal baseball. And you and I have spent a lot of time talking about Paul DeYoung and how we just believe that he's going to be a guy. Last year, the numbers were really good. I feel like he's ready for a tear this year.
Breaking ball that was up and pulled foul, and it's 1-2. So there's DeYoung, and then Renteria, who may become a Cardinals Hall of Famer before it's all said and done. Johnny Peralta, Sally Hemus, and Marty Marion on that list with 34. One ball and 2 strikes. Big gap in left center, and a swing and a miss. The first strikeout for Musgrove.
Well, Musgrove just climbs the ladder a little bit right here on the heater. You get a fastball above the belt. Paulie just couldn't catch up to that one.
A great sign for this Cardinals offense, if it can get back to where it was, let's say 2-3 years ago, is this man at the plate, spraying the ball gap to gap. Line drives. Now, if he gets a pitch on the inner half, he's turning on it, hitting it into the bullpen of the Cardinals, but driving the ball all over the field. And the first pitch to Carpenter, and that's a strike.
Dan, you mentioned earlier calling the games on the stream at Cardinals.com, and then seeing him throughout spring and then summer camp. Carpenter looks different this year. I mean, the way that he's approaching stuff, he looks a lot different than the guy we saw last year.
And the beard is a little different too.
You know what? Maybe that's it.
But I do like gap to gap.
Look, I've been trying to grow out a beard like that for 38 years. Here we are.
And it hasn't worked.
No, it hasn't at all.
The 1-1 pitch. And a breaking ball that's taken inside. He even had a couple of bases loaded situations in those inter squad games. And you see how he stays back. He knows the pressure is on the pitcher, how he's seeing the ball, just how he has the takes like that. Or a pitch is on his hands, he may swing over that pitch. He's just not doing that. 3-1. Gets himself into hitters counts.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, Matt Carpenter would talk about the fact too that not that he was trying to get there, but he liked hitting with 2 strikes. Like, whatever, it's just another count. I'm going to foul off some pitches. I'm going to find something to drive. He just kind of lost that last year and was searching, and it looked like he was guessing up there for the first time in his career.
And he draws a 1-out walk and our first base runner of the night. Baseball is back. The MLB app is the only place to get all your baseball action. In-game video highlights, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, standings, game day, live pitch by pitch, and much more. Download the MLB app today, the official app of Major League Baseball. So 1-out walk, and here is the ageless wonder that is Yadier Molina. And if this is your first time of getting a look at Yadi, you're seeing a 38-year-old that has himself in great condition, terrific condition.
It's what he does, isn't it? He just prepares every single year like he's going to play another 10. And I love watching it. I love seeing him go about. I mean, look, 16 opening days in a row for Yadier Molina, and he doesn't look like he's slowing down one bit.
And the 0-1 pitch to the Cardinal backstop instead of check on Carpenter. So 16 straight opening day starts, the second longest streak by a catcher since 1900, and that trails only Hall of Famer Ivan Rodriguez. He had 20 straight. from 1992 through 2011. Yadi will be a free agent after the season, and he'd like to play, if not 1 year, maybe 2 more years after this season. The 0-1 pitch. Molina hits it down the left field line, but yanks it foul. Most games played in Cardinal history, so he will catch Ozzie this year. And then up next, the great Lou Brock and Stan the Man. Unfortunately, normal opening day ceremonies, you don't have the Hall of Famers, the Red Jackets, but we're thinking about them on a special night here at Busch.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that is, every Cardinal player talks about it. That is the most special part, is getting to be around history, living history. And we do miss those guys today.
Upstairs to Molina, and it's 1-2. Wonder if the Cardinals will have to generate offense. Now, with 2 strikes, you're not going to hit and run. But in combinations like this, would you think about doing some of those kind of things?
Look, I think we're going to see a lot of that out of the Cardinals this year, of trying to make something happen, especially when you have a guy like Yadi who swings it so well and handles the bat.
Fights off that pitch, stays 1 ball and 2 strikes. Combinations like Wong and Edman, or Bader is batting 9th with no pitcher. Bader and Wong, things of that nature. One ball, 2 strikes. The runner at first base, Matt Carpenter, after a 1-out walk. And Yadi sends it down the right field line. The catch is made, and back to first goes Matt Carpenter, and there's 2 down. Reminder that Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light Homers. Tweet Bud Light Homers and sweepstakes for a chance to win today's home run ball. By Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. With Brad Thompson, I'm Dan McLaughlin, and here is Dexter Fowler. Shift on the right side for the Cardinal right fielder. First pitch to him, breaking ball and a strike. He is 6 for 13 against Musgrove. Couple of doubles, a triple, and a home run. To your point, too, Brad, of being aggressive, it's only 60 games, and Mike Schilt is a gambler. He's going to take chances. It's got to be the right situation, but he's going to push it.
Well, I think it's smart. Look, last year it was a necessity to do those things, to steal all of the bases, to the hit and runs. The hope is that this year it's just in combination, or it's just part of your offense in general. You're still driving in runs, you're hitting your doubles, you're hitting your home runs, but being aggressive and putting the pressure on other teams, especially as they've been laying pretty dormant for 4 months, I like that idea.
And the 0-2 pitch is in the dirt. Carpenter staying put at first base. I do too. And Mike has said this many times. He said, for our fan base, whether they're on their couch in this case or wherever they may be watching baseball, it's entertainment. You know, we want to win games, but we're also trying to provide entertainment, and it's a fun brand of baseball.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Dexter Fowler. Check on Carpenter. Very short lead at first base. Stubby Clapp is back. Pop Warner, the coaching staff. Ali Marmol on the bench. Mike Maddox, pitching coach. Brian Eversgerd, bullpen coach. Willie McGee throughout our ceremonial first pitch to Dexter Fowler. Outfield is straight away, and the 1-2. Taken down and in, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's a good take right there. So this is something we saw a lot from Dexter Fowler last year, is maybe he'll start off in the hole in an at-bat, but all of a sudden he just keeps working counts. He'll foul stuff off. He'll take some very close pitches. All of a sudden he gets himself a knock, or he draws himself a walk. He did a very good job of figuring out ways to get on base last year.
The 2-2 pitch to Dexter. And Fowler spoils it as it's out of play. The bunting is out. The fans aren't here, but the bunting is out. The organ is here. You got piped in fans. You got a little bit of the music with the walk-up music for the players. So it does have a little bit of the feel that you'd have at a normal baseball game here at Busch.
I got to tell you, Dan, I got fooled by the fake fans once already when they announced Yadier Molina and the place got louder. I did the look around.
The 2-2 pitch on its way, and Fowler pops it up. Now here's a question for you. As we saw in spring training, the Houston players are being booed when they were on the road coming to Jupiter. I just wonder if they get booed when they go on the road.
Look, I think that they should. I think they absolutely should.
You got to have the feel of what it would be like.
You deserve this. You earned this. So
you definitely have earned it.
I believe that it should be part of the soundtrack. Yet I doubt it's one. I think that everybody's got to have that same soundtrack and be utilized the same way. But look, our world's not fair. They should get booed.
That's right. The 2-2 pitch. Really good at bat here by Dexter Fowler.
Just keeps battling, and then all of a sudden Musgrove's going to go back to the heater again. He's going to throw one that's going to leak too far in, and Dexter's going to turn on it.
And so Bell was looking in the dugout. Do you want me to play behind Carpenter? Do I hold? They're going to elect to hold. So Fowler could pull it right by him or pull it right into his glove. We'll see. 3-2 pitch right here. And a strikeout. Went with the off-speed pitch, and he struck out Dexter Fowler. 2 in the inning, 2 innings in the books on opening night here from Busch.
In case you missed it, Yadier Molina making his 16th consecutive opening day start. Time for our Kia Give It Everything, and that he does, passing Lou Brock, sitting second in franchise history behind Stan the Man for 18 consecutive opening day starts. But Yadi also breaks a nearly 60-year-old record when he passed the Yankees' Bill Dickey for consecutive opening day starts with a single team by a catcher. Now his battery mate today, Jack Flaherty, spoke about Yadi and just his resiliency and his endurance and his ability to keep going year after year, especially on opening day, saying it's so rare, especially by a catcher. That's why it's so special. But guys, Jack Flaherty was 9 years old when Yadi's streak began.
It is truly incredible, the longevity at that position, catching, as Guillermo Heredia, 7th place hitter, leads things off and strikes out, and the first strikeout of 2020 for Jack Flaherty on a nasty pitch there.
A good curveball right here from Jack. It just stays on top of this thing. Bottom falls out of it. There's a nasty pitch right there. We spent a lot of time talking about the slider that Jack Flaherty has, but that curveball takes a few more miles an hour off, gives you a different look.
24 years, 283 days old, opening day. Flaherty, the youngest Cardinals pitcher to start on opening day since 23-year-old Joe McGrain did it April 4th of 1988. The big, tall lefty, and he was a good one.
By the way, that fact that Erica had about Jack being 9 years old when Yadi started his streak, I don't think Yadi needs to hear that fact from Jack. He can keep that one to himself.
Here's a 1-0 pitch and a strike. Now Mike Schilt was saying before the game that with Jack Flaherty, he said basically Jack might go 85 to 90 pitches tonight, but maybe more if he's going easy. And right now this is pretty fluid. This is easy. You can see he's got a good rhythm. Jack, to his credit, during the quarantine kept himself going, and you could tell across Major League Baseball
the pitchers were way ahead of the hitters, and that may be the case the first week or two of these games across Major League Baseball too.
Yeah, it certainly could. It takes a while to get your timing. You see these guys that are dialed in. 95 down and away. That's going to be tough to touch. But I like the fact that Schulte is talking about, hey, we'll keep an eye on it. That's something in 60 games. Yeah, maybe your first start is a little bit different, but after that one, it is 60 games. We're not going to run into any pitch limits as far as innings go, right? So let's use our eyes, let's trust it, and give me what you got.
That was a look at the new manager, Derek Shelton, the 49-year-old for the Pirates. Spent the last 15 years as a coach in some capacity around Major League Baseball. Last 2 years bench coach with Minnesota, and he actually was born in Carbondale, Illinois, and resides in Treasure Island, Florida. And a strikeout for Flaherty. Back-to-back Ks to start this inning. And what a start to this season. That is 8 up and 8 down for Jack Flaherty.
Saw one before. He tried to go down and away with 97. This one 96. Just catches the corner, catches the bottom, and catches Stallings looking on that one.
Gerard Dyson, 7 years with the Kansas City Royals, 1 year with the Seattle Mariners, and the past 2 for the speedster with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Signed as a free agent right before spring training with Pittsburgh, as he's shaking his head. Didn't like that call. Hit .230 last year with Arizona. 7 home runs, drove in 27. And the 0-1 pitch. Check swing. He went. Nothing in 2. Dyson, one of the lowest picks in the history of baseball to make it to the major leagues.
I love seeing that. I love seeing that. He's carved himself out a very nice career. Speedster still.
And a little floater. Wong. Nope. DeYoung. Paul DeYoung with the catch. And again, the Pirates go 1, 2, 3. 9 up, 9 down on this opening night for Jack Flaherty. Take a look at our Taco Bell take. Mike Shildt, managerial career last year, the manager of the year in the National League. 91 and 71, division champions, reached the NLCS, and he's 132 and 99, his career record, as he took over for Mike Matheny a couple of seasons ago, right before the All-Star break. Got things on track to make it interesting that season, and then last year really cleaned up the defense, the base running, and a tremendous second half to get the Cardinals into postseason play. And here's Tyler O'Neill.
Well, we were talking about how long the last few months have felt since that March 12th where everything shut down and there were no sports. It felt like it was a decade at least in between playoff seasons for the Cardinals, and it was so nice to get back to that style of baseball.
And O'Neill lifts it in the air out to left center. It's at the wall. Gone! Home run. Tyler O'Neill in his first bat of 2020 takes it deep into the bullpen. And I got to tell you, my partner said during the break it might go to Big Mac land. He said it might go to the rooftop over there, but he called it. He said a home run is coming, and sure enough, it's 1-0 Cardinals.
Look, I guess it doesn't count if I don't call it on here, but you know he's got the big-time power. A breaking ball that backs up on Tyler O'Neill a little bit, does a great job of staying back, keeping his hands in, and just lets the raw power take over. And I know that that wasn't the breaking ball that Musgrove was trying to throw, but those are the kind of pitches that Tyler O'Neill needs to handle. I love seeing a start like that for him.
A solo home run for Tyler O'Neill, who hit 5 a season ago, and it's 1-0 St. Louis here in the home half of the third. And the 9th place batter is Harrison Bader. And yes, those were fireworks that just went off.
I'm digging it. Let's get more fireworks. Let's do all kinds of fireworks.
0-2 the count on the Cardinals center fielder. Shift on the left side. And Bader pops it up to the right side, and that will find the seats near the camera folks.
So with no fans in the seats, you're going to see a lot of unique camera shots, still photos, as our camera folks are able to take those shots, and Fredbird is trying to get a souvenir. Yes, Fredbird is here. He's in Big Mac land.
I really was wondering a second ago who is going to end up getting all of these foul balls, but I think we just saw it. Fredbird's got a gig.
Going to be busy.
When you can't beat people in the head for a few months, you got to find something to do. You got to be able to pull your weight around here.
And the 1-2 pitch upcoming now to Harrison Bader. Now they started the at bat, Brad, with this shift. Bell well off the line. There's 2 strikes, but you got to wonder if Bader moving forward is going to think about trying to push the ball to the right side under 2 strikes.
For sure. And look, a lot of times he's going to get the slider away. Here comes one right here. Can he shoot it the other way?
That backs up, and he strikes out looking. That'll be strikeout number 3 for Musgrove.
Just a little bit of a backup breaking ball there again from Musgrove. But when you're looking away, you see the breaking ball spin. Kind of hard to pull the trigger when it's coming in on you.
Top of the lineup, and Colton Wong. He popped out his first time up in foul territory to the third baseman Colin Moran. Career game number 800 for Colton Wong, who now has over 6 years of major league service. Been around a while now.
He has, and it's happened. I feel like it's just happened so quickly with Colton, and we've seen him grow so much in the last couple of years. It's a guy that you know what to expect out in the field. We've come to know what to expect with him up at bat.
And it's 1-2 on Colton Wong. They're in the top of the 7th. The Cubs leading the Brewers with a score of 2-0. And now more than ever, you do scoreboard watch. Essentially, every game is worth 2.7 wins or 2.7 losses. As Wong spins away and looks at a ball to even it up at 2-2.
Dan, did you do that math by yourself, that whole 2.7 thing, or did you rely on the professionals?
Yeah, definitely the professionals stole
that way. No, I'm not. Yeah. I'm not great at math either.
No, that was definitely stolen without question. But I'm okay to admit it.
No, it's fine.
As Wong hits it sharply to Josh Bell, who flips to Musgrove for the out. The Cardinals are proud to partner with Wells Fargo Advisors and thank them for continuing to serve the community through their contributions to Cardinals Care. With Brad Thompson, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Glad that you're with us as baseball is back, the opener of the 2020 season. And if you've just joined us, Jack Flaherty has gone 9 up and 9 down with a pair of strikeouts. And the Cardinals have a 1-0 lead thanks to a solo home run by Tyler O'Neill. Tommy Edman grounded out to third, and a shift on the right side. He's 0 for 1, and that's ball 1. Cardinals on their bench, if you have not seen it or know about it, but starting this unique season, it is a 30-man roster. So they have the switch hitter Matt Wieters. No left-handers on their bench currently. As Tommy chops it up the middle, it's backhanded, and he'll beat it out. No! And we'll see if the Cardinals want to have a review here as Bell is hustling off the field, but may have to go back to the bag. To the naked eye, he looked to be safe.
He did. He looked safe to me for sure. I'm not even sure how close that was.
The idea with review and replay is to make these calls, especially in 2020, and he is safe. Undoubtedly, this is going to take one review, and they'll be back on the field. But, Brad, this is an easy call, but the idea this year, because they're trying to get through these games quickly, get guys back to home, get them back to the hotel rooms, is to take a quick look at it and make the call initially. Don't keep rolling it back and forth, back and forth. Make the call, make your call, get it to the guys on the field, get it to your crew chief, and get it going.
Yeah, look, I mean, this one should be done already. It shouldn't take long at all. This one is clear cut. By the way, there are 3 outcomes when it comes to review. Confirmed is confirming what happened on the field. Stands is there's no clear evidence, and overturned. And that's what we're going to get right there, is a call that's overturned.
So quickly overturned, and Tommy Edman has his first hit of the season. Tommy Edman, 4.12 seconds to first last year. One of the fastest players in baseball. That was top 20 in the game. That is elite.
Well, it goes back to also just putting the ball in play. I know that there are plenty of people that say, well, you know, strikeout is just an out. No, you put a ball in play, you utilize some speed, put pressure on somebody else. You never know what might happen.
So 2 outs, runner at first, and Goldschmidt at the plate. Also on the bench for the Cardinals, Austin Dean making this opening day roster. Andrew Kisner, Lane Thomas, Rangel Ravello, and Edmundo Sosa. See if Edman wants to do a little running. See, and that's the thing. You can run, you can open up first base. They pitch around Paul Goldschmidt, but that's where the number 4 man in this lineup becomes critical. You can say, all right, don't pitch to Goldie, but then you open up the potential of a huge inning with DeYoung on deck.
Oh, for sure. You have to have length in the lineup, and it goes back to the consistency that Paul DeYoung is looking for from a year ago. Overall numbers look good, but he's trying to carry that through the entire season. I think it's going to happen. I think that people are going to have to be very careful when you try to give a free pass to somebody.
Kubota power stats, the most runs batted in after the All-Star break in Major League Baseball in 2019. Anthony Rendon, now at the Angels, had 64. He was with the Nationals, then Nelson Cruz, and the Cardinals. Paul Goldschmidt was 60. Here's a 1-0 pitch with 2 outs. Goldschmidt yanks it down the left field line, but foul. Very streaky in his first season with the Cardinals. Had the incredible opening series with Milwaukee, had the 3-home-run day. And then in the second half, he had some weeks and stretches in which he carried the Cardinals. And a lot of that was done at the expense of these Pirates.
Yeah, the Cardinals had their way with the Pirates last year, 14-5, and Goldie had a lot to do with that. And look, I do believe that Goldie can be one of those guys throughout the year that can carry. He's been that guy his whole career.
Edman running and out at second as he looks back into the Cardinal dugout. And again, Mike Schmidt putting his hand up as if to say, hold on, we may want to take a look at this one too.
I wasn't so sure about that one either. Pretty decent jump there by Tommy Edman.
And Mike says, let's go to the 4th inning. So the home run hit by Tyler O'Neill to start the inning. The first run of 2020. Edman to the outside portion of the bag, too. Very close. May have been safe. We move on. Back at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, McDonald's is celebrating the return of Cardinals baseball. Get a Big Mac sandwich for just $1 when you buy one at a regular price. Grab this deal today and every day for the rest of the month. Jack Flaherty has looked fantastic. 9 up and 9 down. And the first time through the order, 31 pitches, 22 of which were strikes, no walks. Couple of the strikeouts, only 1 3-ball count. Remember, he led the National League in lowest opponent average first time through the order. It was 128. And if you go back to last season, that's now
22 consecutive scoreless innings dating back to last year. So picking up right where he left off.
That's right. And look, this is a man on a mission right here. He knows that this is a 60-game sprint. He'll likely get about a dozen starts. Jack Flaherty is looking to make the best out of every single one of these. And he looks sharp. I mean, all the breaking stuff. A couple of really good curveballs already. Spotting the fastball at the bottom of the zone. By the way, that's where he got a lot of his strikeouts last year, in slider counts, fastballs down and away.
This is Kevin Newman, the top of their lineup, and a base hit into center field. The first hit he's allowed today. So base hit into center, the first hit for the Pirates, and that starts play here in the top of the fourth.
I mentioned the fastball down in the way where he gets the strikeout. Was trying to go there. I think just leaked over the middle of the plate up in the zone, and Newman gets the barrel to it.
Brian Reynolds, a left fielder for Pittsburgh, had 57 extra base hits last year. He was actually, even though Bell had a monster season, their MVP by wins above replacement WAR, which is a great standard to look at just how good a player is all around. And a ground ball, could be two. Wong. DeYoung couldn't get it out of the glove.
Boy, good job by Jack to get the ground ball. Colton makes the turn, and those are just frustrating. We've seen these two together so many times. Just on the transfer right there, ball pops out for a second.
Darren Hendrickson is the head coach at St. Louis University, and actually had Colton Wong and Paul DeYoung, and then eventually Tommy Edman working out at St. Louis U during the quarantine at their facilities. Batting cages, the field, and that was day in and day out.
Yeah, you got to be able to get reps in, and it's, I think most people think that major league players, you just always have somewhere to go. It's not necessarily true. You got to have somebody that can open the doors for you, and I know that's something these guys truly appreciated.
Adam Frazier fly to right, first time up, and the 1-0 pitch tapped foul. Speaking with John Mozeliak, president of baseball operations, he was so impressed with Yachty. Rangel Ravello actually dropped 17 pounds during that time. And you have to remember, literally public parks, depending on where you lived, were shut down. Couldn't get there. So very tough for some of these athletes to work out, find a place to throw, hit, run, hit the other way, and a base hit. And stopping at second base will be Reynolds, and the Pirates have something going here in the fourth inning.
Frazier right here on a sinker that's off the plate, away, just stays with it, goes the other way, and get things going. And that's the thing about the three guys before Bell. They have bat to ball. I mean, there's not a ton of strikeouts in those three, and that's kind of the way they set up. Frazier's not your prototypical three-hole hitter, but he's a guy that puts the ball in play, that gets on and sets the table for this guy who did a really good job, specifically in the first half, of clearing it. 60 extra base hits in the first half for Josh Bell last year.
Breakout season, went from just 12 home runs total in 2018 and jumped up to 37. He lined out against the shift first time up, and he lifts a high fly ball out to Dexter Fowler. Under it, makes the catch. Runner stay put, and that is a big out. T-Mobile is your ticket to the game. Now through August 3rd, customers can score free MLB TV at T-Mobile.com/MLB. With Brad Thompson, I'm Dan McLaughlin. The season opener from Busch Stadium. 1-0 Cardinals on a Tyler O'Neill home run. The batter is Colin Moran, fly to left.
with runners now at first and second and 2 outs.
Got to be careful here on the first pitch. Moran, first pitch last time swinging, does it a lot.
And looks at a fastball and a strike at 95. Velocity has been pretty good for Jack tonight.
Yeah, well, he's had a couple of pitches where he knows in a spot, when to dial it up. We've seen him up to 97. Again, I get it that there's no crowd. You don't really feel it. That guy feels it.
And the 0-1 pitch tied him up, and it's 0-2. Boy, that's nasty right there on the lefty.
That's one of those ones right there. That's one of those sliders that looks just like a fastball coming out of the hand, and Colin Moran can't stop himself. I know it's easy to watch that thing at home and say, what are you swinging at? Well, it looks like it's going to be a fastball on the inner half.
The fastball for Flaherty is averaging 94.3 miles per hour, so very solid tonight. 0-2 the count. Flaherty to Colin Moran. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and the Pirates will strand a pair. Pitch is out of trouble against the middle of the Pirates lineup. Flaherty picking up his third strikeout, and the Pirates strand 2. The all-new Cardinals 5K presented by Fox Sports Midwest is going virtual. Pick when and where you participate, and the Cardinals Care Redbird rookies will benefit. Register at cardinals.com/5K. Paul Goldschmidt left standing last inning at the plate. Remember, Tommy Edman caught stealing after his infield hit. And that hit by Edman in the third was hit number 100 of his career. He's actually reached base now in 19 straight dating back to the end of last year. Big September helped the Cardinals get into postseason play. And the 0-1 pitch now 0-2. Goldschmidt mentioned earlier, Brad, what he did against the Pirates. 366 the average, but 7 home runs and drove in 23 of his 97 in 19 games against the Pirates last year. 23 runs batted in. They were sick of seeing him. That was the most by any player against a National League team in 2019. First season with St. Louis, hit 34 home runs, drove in 97, and barring a miracle, I'm going to go out on a limb, it'll be another season without a 100 RBI man in the Cardinal lineup.
Well, you might be right on that one. It's been a minute. Been since 2012. Matt Holliday, the last one to do it. But it's going to be pretty difficult. By the way, one of those 7 home runs last year against the Pirates, if I remember correctly, wasn't he the first right-hander to hit one in the river?
Put it in the Allegheny.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. The 2-2 pitch to Paul Goldschmidt. Outfield deep. Taken for a ball. Cardinals will play 3 this weekend against Pittsburgh. Off day on Monday. And then they'll face what is a loaded lineup, the Minnesota Twins. So you have 40 games inside your division, the NL Central, 20 interleague games. 3-2. And he stays away and draws the walk. Walk number 2 issued by Musgrove. And now a quick word from Great Southern Bank.
Whoa! Lost your debit card in the 9th? Turn it on or off in a flash with the Great Southern mobile app.
Now, some folks may say, I don't like seeing the Cardinals having to play 7 of the 10 against the Cubs on the road at Wrigley or 7 of the 10 in Cincinnati. You can counter that by saying, well, you do get a lot of games against Kansas City. You know, some of the lesser teams, Detroit, you're going to see more so than the other teams. Those are 100-loss teams. So when you look actually at winning percentages of what the Cardinals face this year, taking the wins and losses of some of the teams from last year, it's the 3rd easiest schedule in baseball.
I think we'll take that.
Yeah.
And look, if you're looking at something on a schedule and saying it doesn't look fair, just remember what year it is, okay? It's 2020. There's nothing fair about anything. We'll just figure it out. We'll play some baseball. It's a game.
You got baseball. Here's the 0-1. I don't know about you. I'm loving it.
Dude, this is great. Being around the game again, seeing it actually happen. It's happened again. I got fooled by the fake crowd noise. It sounds legit. I'm liking it. By the way, initially I was kind of anti-crowd noise. I didn't know if I wanted like music or something. I'm digging it. It gives you that feel still.
I think you have to have it.
Well, you got to have something.
I think it's twofold, actually. I think it's part of the game itself. So, for instance, if you have Jacob Stallings behind the plate. Now, think about it, folks. If this was empty and you had, and I mean truly empty with no crowd, which we have, but nobody around the plate, and he's trying to move from left to right, you could hear his spikes, those metal cleats digging in the dirt. So positioning behind the plate as he moves, Paul DeJong could hear that as DeJong pops it up left side. And I've talked to some of the players about it. They say with the crowd, they cannot hear the catcher moving with his cleats. And so trying to get positioning behind that and figuring out, are you trying to get inside, outside plate, location? That's number one. And number two, as you watch at home and the parabolic mics that we have on our telecast pick up the crowd, and as Tom Mee, our director, gives you your shots like that are tight, you see the players. You're not seeing as much of the empty seats. You're going to see some at times, but you're seeing some of them. But you're also hearing a little bit of the crowd. It does give you some feel of what a major league game would feel like. And there's a swing and a miss, and DeJong strikes out for the second time. Again, it's not ideal. It's not perfect, but it is better what we feel than having nothing.
It's baseball. That's what it is. Another fastball up there. Got Paul DeJong to climb the ladder again.
It's 4 strikeouts for Musgrove. Do you agree, being a former pitcher, about the moving of a catcher behind the plate?
Oh, for sure. And look, if you didn't have that, then you're going to have catchers that are trying to set up very, very late. Then it's hard to pick up a target, and it's hard to frame a pitch. If you're setting up really, really late, you might be dragging a pitch out of the strike zone.
Carpenter looks at a ball down and in. He walked his first time up. How do you feel about cutouts there's some stadiums that have that in the seats?
Look, I'm pro cutout. I was watching the Dodgers-Giants game last night. Did I find myself looking for Larry King for far too long? Sure.
Mary Hart?
I found Mary Hart.
Okay.
She was directly behind, right behind the plate. But I kind of was digging that too. Look, at this point, honestly, I'm not sure there's much that you could do to baseball in the stands that's going to bother me. All right, I've been waiting this whole time for the pitcher to hit. He hasn't come up yet, but my life's not over. Everything's fine.
I was wondering, would it bother a pitcher at all, or even the outfielder just trying to pick up the baseball off the bat with the cutouts? Now, normal crowd, you're saying, what's the difference? But is there a difference at all?
Well, I guess it just depends, right? It depends what your backdrop is, what your seat colors are. A lot of players will tell you in an empty stadium it's really hard to pick up the baseball. But from a pitcher standpoint, that it's kind of all just a blur anyhow. When you end up being on the mound, you're not really focusing on that. You don't see any of that.
So back-to-back strikeouts here. Little changeup, it looked like, from Musgrove.
A couple of good ones. He's been showing off the entire arsenal. The breaking ball has looked good. He's been able to elevate with the fastball. He's made a couple of mistakes, but only had to pay for one. It was the backup breaking ball to Tyler O'Neill.
So Major League Baseball sent an iPad to all the teams, and it's got crowd noise that is elevated with, if you hit a double, you hit a home run, you hit a triple, and our tremendous scoreboard crew is working that, whether it be Tony Simakaitis or Jared Hockup, Matt Shedd, Craig Wilson, various members of that crew that have done a terrific job of providing content throughout the quarantine of what was happening with the club. And now working a real baseball game tonight. Here's Yadier Molina. Yachty fly to right. That pitch taken high. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Dan, just to put it on the record, I would be happy to take over the crowd noise anytime. If anybody in there needs a break, I would love to be in charge of that.
That's why we have you here, because we know how out of hand it might get.
Look, I'm playing that until somebody gives me a curtain call. I'll say that right now.
Room on the right side, and Yachty hits it left side on a hop to short. Force play at second. And the side retired. We head to inning number 5. The Cardinals with a 1-0 lead on opening night.
Cards up 1-0 thanks to Johnny Chaos as they go to the top of the 5th over at Busch Stadium. Colton Wong back at second base. Colton missed the exhibition game against Kansas City Wednesday night with a stiff neck. Colton told me via text earlier today that the neck was nothing to worry about, and he wasn't going to miss tonight's game for anything. He said being part of baseball's return in St. Louis is amazing. He knows what it means to the fans. Colton said it's going to be weird not having any people around, but at the end of the day, it's still baseball. It's still the same game. It's just the 2020 version of the game. He said his personal goals remain the same as they were back in spring training. As he put it, get better, continue to chase gold gloves, and to chase the legends we have in this organization, and to be one of them. Dan Colton is also happy, or hoping to be happy, at the top of the lineup and make a home there. Dan?
Yeah, taking the ball the other way. Part of that, did that in the second half of the season as Jack Flaherty back to work here in the top of inning number 5. It was Colton Wong, Paul DeYoung, Tommy Edman, Matt Adams, who had a walk-off the other night for the Atlanta Braves, Tate Matheny, other minor leaguers working out at the prospect facility with Joey Hawkins, a former SLU coach and now a Cardinal minor league coach the offseason. They all worked out. Very tight fraternity. Andy Bennis, the former Cardinal, with the prospects here in town, and they opened up that facility for those guys and worked tirelessly. Andy making St. Louis his permanent home. The 2-2 pitch, slider just off the plate.
Got a couple of good breaking balls in a row right there from Jack Flaherty. He's showing him each of them. He was able to get Osuna to reach on a curveball his last at bat. We'll see how he goes after him here.
3-2. Fastball, and he struck him out. 95 on the gun, and Flaherty picks up strikeout number 4.
So Jack shows him the slider, shows him the curveball, got him thinking off speed, and just blows 95 away right past him.
Ooh.
I like that. He's feeling it a little bit.
So the pitch count, as we are only in inning number 5, is only at 49. You start to think how deep you go in this game with Jack Flaherty. There's a nasty curveball at 76 miles an hour.
It's a pitch right there. He knows they're going to try to be aggressive, and he could just drop that thing in there. He could drop it in for a strike. He could throw it under the zone for chase.
Heredia, the right fielder, struck out on a curveball. That's lined into the glove of third baseman Tommy Edman for out number 2. Good play at the hot corner for Tommy Edman. That'll help too. Another quick out.
Some right there that the Cardinals, as you mentioned earlier, Dan, just so good a year ago is defensively. Tommy Edman, we're going to see Tommy kind of play all over the place, I'm sure. We'll see him bounce around, but he is very strong over there at the hot corner.
Here's Jacob Stallings, struck out looking back in the 3rd inning. I find it fascinating what Mike Shildt is going to do in these types of games, especially early on. How deep you go with your starter. Part of it is the eye test. Part of it is looking at pitch count. But there are a lot of weapons that he has. Popped up right side. Goldie is there in foul territory, and Flaherty is through 5 scoreless innings. Dexter Fowler, then the home run hitter tonight, Tyler O'Neill and Harrison Bader due up 1-0. Well, tomorrow it is our Bud Light Seltzer. What's on tap? It's Adam Wainwright. Career start number 317. Brad, career appearance number 384 for the 38-year-old Adam Wainwright, the number 2 starter this 2020 season.
Got a couple of ageless wonders on this team, don't we?
Amazing. Here's Dexter Fowler, second time that he has been up. Had a good at bat first time up. Now he struck out, but it was a lengthy at bat. This would be Wainwright's 15th season in the Cardinals organization. That ties Red Schoendienst, Bob Forsch, Ozzie Smith. 5th most in franchise history, 3rd most by a pitcher. Incredible run.
Yeah, it is. And you just look at what he was able to do last year. I think if you're being honest with yourself at home, I don't think too many people thought that Waino would start 31 games for the Cardinals last year, and he did so in great fashion.
And he got better down the stretch.
Yep.
They're stretching now in the Pittsburgh bullpen. This will be pitch number 70 coming up for Joe Musgrove, who's been effective tonight. He has struck out 5, giving up the home run to Tyler O'Neill back in the 3rd. He's allowed just 2 base hits. We had a total of 4 hits in this game. And the 1-2. And Fowler hits a fly ball out to deep right. At the wall, it is gone! Home run, Dexter Fowler. Fowler on a 1-2 pitch, drives it out to right. And it's 2-0 St. Louis. Dexter hit 19 home runs a year ago, and his first of 2020. Well, the second home run hit by the Cardinals tonight.
Musgrove went back-to-back changeups, then throws a sinker in here, catches way too much of the plate. Dexter, anything middle in, he can turn and burn on that. Hit 434 on fastballs in last year, got one there and drove it.
The other home run hit tonight was Tyler O'Neill. 2-0 Cardinals. O'Neill jammed out to center field, and the catch is made. First out here in inning number 5. So only 3 hits allowed by Musgrove, but 2 have been solo home runs. And here is Bader, who was caught looking, back in the 3rd inning. Dexter Fowler is now 7 for 15 with a home run, 2 of them a triple and 2 doubles against Joe Musgrove. And the first pitch is strike to the Cardinals center fielder. So manage along a little bit here if you're Mike Schilt. You now have a 2-run lead. You've got weapons that can be extended, like an Austin Gomber, like a Daniel Ponce de Leon, or do you manage it like a normal game where you've got defined roles in the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th?
Yeah, right now, I mean, for me at least, and I like having that flexibility. I'm still trusting my eyes with Jack Flaherty. I'm going to run him out there, and then I'm going to see what my 7, 8, 9 looks like. I'm going to see where I'm at in the lineup when it comes to that. But that's the beauty of it, honestly, the way that the entire bullpen is set up for the Cardinals, is that you got guys that can bridge a gap for you, and you got guys that can give you that 7, 8, 9 as Harrison gets caught looking on a ball that appears to be off the plate right there.
Well, Jacob Stallings, the catcher, is known for his pitch framing, and he brought that back in the zone. He has been in their organization since 2012. He's done that a couple of times tonight where you see it's just out of the zone, but he's quiet behind there and brings it back in the zone. He gets that call. That pitch up, and it is a foul ball. And not by much at all. First base umpire is Ed Hickox. That's foul by inches. Well, I got to tell you, that looked fair. Is it? Oh, boy.
That's a good call right there. I mean, personally, I saw some white grass fly, but that's just me.
Very, very close. So 6 strikeouts, 3 hits allowed. He has walked 2. What could be his final inning of work, 76 now, 77 pitches. And there's a good example of pitch framing, too, top of the zone.
I was going to ask you, when you mentioned it before, how much longer do you think that pitch framing is going to end up being a thing, Dan? Because I feel like there's traction more and more every year for the robot umpire.
0-2 pitch. And I know a lot of fans thought, well, with social distancing, this is the time to do it. Unfortunately, the technology just isn't quite perfected.
Yeah, I mean, they've used it in various leagues. They've used it in the Atlantic League of independent baseball. They've used it in the Arizona Fall League, but it's still not perfect. If you're going to do something with the best players on earth here in Major League Baseball, you better make sure that it's 100% correct.
And the 0-2 pitch. Well, you can see him just try to pull that back in the strike zone as well, as the home run hitters standing next to each other and talking about, well, what did you see? I got this. I got this. Well, we both put one out of the ballpark.
Oh, the talk is, dude, mine went further. No, it didn't. No, mine did. No.
And the 1-2. Wong sends one into the gap in right center. This ball is down all the way to the wall. Wong to second. Wong on his way to third, racing in, head first slide with a triple. Ball gets away. He's going to try to score. Stumbling in and shy of home plate and out. Tried to make it all the way to the plate, and a smile as he came up about 2 inches short. Stumbling in and couldn't get there. Stumbling, bumbling. Oh, no. Oh, no! Colton just came up short, didn't he?
Hey, look. He tried. He tried hard. He wanted it.
In the break, he was trying to explain, I was almost there.
I was going to be able to swim past it. Look, and we're joking about it, but we did say earlier, an aggressive nature is going to be a part of Mike Shilt's team. Like, he's going to want, if you see something, go for it. He trusts his players.
Yeah.
That's not always going to work.
Gerard Dyson hit a soft liner to short back in the 3rd inning. 0 for 1 tonight. Leads it off here in the top of the 6th. Pair of solo home runs. 2-0 Cardinals. Ground ball hit to second. There's Colton. And there's one away. BJC Healthcare difference maker. What have you seen, Brad Thompson?
Well, I've seen a guy that picked up right where he left off. Jack Flaherty's been throwing his fastball wherever he wants it. He's been spotting up his breaking balls for strike and for chase. And when he does have a pitch that maybe comes out not exactly how he wants it, he's making adjustments really quickly. He's been incredibly efficient so far on. He's been commanding counts. And that's the Jack Flaherty that we got to see the entire second half.
Top of the lineup, and Kevin Newman, followed by Brian Reynolds. So the pitch count, I mean, it's about as efficient as you can get. Only at 57 with 1 out here in the top of the 6th. He's allowed just 2 hits. He has struck out 4. The trouble that he ran into was in the 4th inning. Couple of runners on. It was dangerous when he had the cleanup man Josh Bell up. Got him to fly out to right, then picked up a strikeout at Colin Moran, and the threat was through. The 1-1 pitch. Fastball. And it's taken low. That at 96.
He's doing a good job, too, of keeping the fastball down there. Home plate umpire Jerry Meals has called that pitch kind of under the zone a little bit a few times today.
That one off of Yachty, slow to get up, and you know he's going to stay in the game. Adam Olsen will check on him, and we should commend Chris Conroy, Adam Olsen, Mark Walsh, Ernie Moore, the support staff of the Cardinals to get the Cardinals to this point in summer camp and all the different things that have gone on with the testing and just the various things that they have to go through day after day after day to make sure everybody is safe and healthy.
Yeah, there's a lot. We're very fortunate. We get to tune in tonight and watch it. You don't get to see all the things that kind of happen behind the scenes, but it takes a village to get something like this going.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 5 strikeouts for Jack Flaherty. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Ford, the official car and truck of the Cardinals. Buy Steel. Find your Steel dealer at steeldealers.com. And baseball is back, presented by Taco Bell.
Well, yeah, the fastball weighed the pitch beforehand. This one comes out of the hand looking like the heater, and that's why you get that swing right there. You have to believe that if you're Frazier, that thing's going to stay out there and stay straight. It doesn't.
Pitch tunneling. Hear about that all the time.
Look at you with new phrases. You're in. I mean, you're Mr. 2020.
Well, I've known about it for a long time. I'm just trying to set you up and tee it up for you, you know?
I appreciate that.
Maybe you can explain it for fans since you're the big analyst here.
Well, you know, that makes sense. You know, pitch tunneling was something I was going to get to.
Yeah.
And it's essentially making all your pitches look the same coming out of your hand. So it's the same arm slot. It's the same release. And really the break is the thing that should change. So if you see a breaking ball pop out of your hand early or a lower arm angle, look, you're not going to get people to swing at that, or they're going to recognize it. They're going to pick it up a lot quicker. And Jack does do a very good job mechanically. Everything is the same. Everything comes out of the same slot. Or tunnel, if you will, Dan.
Well done.
Thank you, Dan.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and nobody on. The next 2, Brian Reynolds. Ground ball right side. Goldschmidt, Flaherty, the out. Another 1-2-3 inning. We're midway through 6 in the opener of the 2020 season. Great to be with you. 2-0 Cardinals. Help Cardinals Care raise funds to benefit children in the community by purchasing a 50-50 raffle ticket during every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday home and away game. One winner will be selected on each qualifying game date and receive 50% off the pot. And you must be in the state of Missouri at the time of purchase. Visit cardinals.com/5050 for tickets. Musgrove will face Edman, Goldschmidt, and DeYoung. And a pitch that's taken for a strike on the outside corner. Tommy Edman grounded out to third. Reached on an infield hit that was reviewed. And then was caught stealing. Cardinals with a pair of solo home runs. Tyler O'Neill in the third. And Dexter Fowler a solo home run in inning number 5. 2-0 St. Louis.
We got to love seeing those 2 guys, by the way, Dan. Tyler O'Neill, we've talked a lot about, and everybody has talked about Dylan Carlson, the young stud prospect, who we all know, everybody loves the kid, and he's going to be here and be a part of it. But they wanted to give Tyler O'Neill a chance to prove it. So far, so good. Dexter Fowler, you know, everybody says the same thing. Hey, you got Lane Thomas, you got Harrison Bader, you've got all these young guys. Maybe give them a chance. Well, look, they've got a proven asset in Dexter Fowler, who has proven it yet again today as well.
Musgrove with strikeout number 7 tonight. You look across the board in Major League Baseball, it's not just in this game. There's not been a lot of offense, a total of 6 hits, 4 for the Cardinals, 2 for the Pirates. But you look in the game with Kansas City, a total of 9 hits. You know, there wasn't a lot in some of the other games that have been final already. It's clear the pitching is ahead of the hitting. And usually you'll see that beginning of a season because the weather is cold. It's just hard to hit in cold weather. It takes time to catch up, but it's going to take a little bit, a week or 2, I think, to see some of the hitters catch up. Goldschmidt late with that swing.
Yeah, I really do think that there is something to just live action, and you're facing your own guys doing a lot of the inter squad games, and maybe, you know, the Cardinals got the 1 game against the Royals, but it's hard. It's hard to gear back up. It's hard to hit these guys. Musgrove's got great stuff. So you'll see the one that guys run into. You see the home runs here and there, but stringing together a bunch of hits is not an easy thing.
And that pitch taken for a ball inside. Had 31 starts a year ago, had never made more than 20. Had never thrown more than 115 innings. He threw 170 last year. Had 11 wins, 17 quality starts, and those all were career best a season ago. Here's a 1-2. Fisted foul. And he broke his back. There's Jack Flaherty. The Pirates hoping that Musgrove really continues on his upward trajectory because of the man he was traded for. He was a first-round pick by the Blue Jays in 2011, 46th overall. Traded to the Astros in 2012. 2018, traded by Houston to Pittsburgh for former #1 overall pick back in 2011, Garrett Cole. As that's a base hit into left field for Paul Goldschmidt. One out hit for the Cardinal first baseman, and it brings in Paul DeJong, who's 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Subway restaurants are proud to feature the Cardinals' fan favorite for July, the turkey breast sub. It's fueling fans around St. Louis all month long. So DeJong 0 for 2 with a pair of Ks. And that gets to the backstop, back to Stallings, but no throw. Goldschmidt in, standing up. They really have elevated on Paul DeJong, something that he's trying to stay away from in 2020.
Yeah, well, what Musgrove has done too, he's got ahead with off speed, you know, in counts that Paul's kind of looking for a fastball to drive, and then he's been finishing him with that fastball up, and kind of that's the poetry of pitching, right? You're trying to catch him off guard. You're trying to throw what he's not expecting.
They shift on the left side, and the 1-0 pitch to the Cardinals shortstop, who said it so many times in his young career. He can have an 0 for 2 and strike out a couple of times, and then he strikes. One swing of the bat, it could be 4-0.
Pretty even keel Paul DeJong is. I mean, he's one of those guys that he's a smart player. He studies the tape. He breaks everything down, but he doesn't let the highs get too high, doesn't let the lows get too low. He kind of stays right there in the middle. It's a hard place to be and to stay as a ball player. He does a good job with it.
Right-hander Clay Holmes is throwing in the Pirates bullpen. They have 8 right-handers, 3 lefties in their pen. There's a look at Holmes, the right-hander. Big gap in left center. You know he's got the green light. 3 balls and no strikes. And he'll take the walk. Walk number 3 for Musgrove. So a quick visit here with Musgrove. And while we have a moment, if you can't catch a game on television, you can stream games live on your mobile device. Download the Fox Sports Go app, log in, and stream the Cardinals wherever you may be. Take a look at what the National League did, essentially in interleague play, so with and without the DH. You know, the Reds said they were building their team anyway for the DH. They went out and got Moustakas, Castellanos. Could be a very tough team. That lineup seems to be loaded. Suarez, Votto, others. Those are the numbers there. And the Cardinals now, their DH, at least from the onset here, will be Matt Carpenter.
Yeah, and I truly do believe, we all know the year that Matt had last year. It's one for him that he would like to forget. I believe that Matt Carpenter can thrive in this role. I mean, 2 years ago, the guy hit 36 home runs. And as we were talking about the approach, the difference that it makes, your defense gets a little bit better with Tommy Edman over at third base. You got Carpenter that can drop bombs at will.
Swing and a miss by Carpenter for strike one. Walked his first time up and struck out swinging in inning number 4. We are in the bottom of the 6th, 2-0, 2 runners on with 1 out. This is a key at bat in this game. Right here with Matt Carpenter. Outfield is straight away. Shift on the right side. 1 ball and 1 strike. Many times we saw Brad Carpenter going to left center in this type of spot if they pitch him away.
Well, this is 1-2. You believe that Musgrove is going to continue to attack him with off speed. Carpenter had his struggles with it, but if he leaves him one of those change-ups that are up over the plate, I mean, that's the pitch that he can do some real damage with.
The 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball catches the zone on the inner half, and it's 1-2.
It's a good pitch right there. I mean, that's a tough one to pull the trigger on. That's one of those ones, if Matt Carpenter does swing at, he gets the patented ball off of his shin. Can't do much with that pitch.
Boy, how many times do we see that a year ago?
Pretty much every time.
Yeah. And the 1-2 pitch. Carpenter looks at a ball outside. Two and two the count. 2 runners on with 1 out. In the home half of the 6th. This opening night here at Busch Stadium. And Carpenter rolls over. That is a foul ball.
He's up there battling, fights off a fastball right there after seeing a bunch of changeups and a curveball. And again, back to when Matt Carpenter is at his best. He's going to fight off tough pitches. He's going to take pitches that are just off the plate, and he's going to find something that he can drive. I doubt Musgrove's going to double up with the fastball here.
Two and two the count. And the next to Carpenter. He's worked the count full. On deck, Yadier Molina. Well, you'd have to say one way or another, this definitely is it for Musgrove. Pitch count now just 2 shy of the century mark.
Yeah, I would think so. And you can just tell by the way that the ball's coming out of his hand. There's a little bit of inconsistency. Now he's getting tired, rightfully so. Look, it's his first start of 2020. But this potential last pitch for him could be a big one for the Cardinals.
Three and two the count. Shift again on the right side of the infield for Carpenter. Cardinals have hit already 2 home runs. And the next to Matt. Carpenter slowly hit to the right side. Out there, back to first and safe. So runners at the corners. And it'll bring in Yadier Molina. And we'll see if this is it for Musgrove. You have to think it is. And it will be. Manager Derek Shelton coming out. Clay Holmes will come in. It'll be runners at first and third. And Yadier Molina coming up with 2 outs when we come back. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Busch Stadium, the scene. It's opening night of the 2020 season. And wherever you may be, we hope you're enjoying Cardinals baseball. Our Chevy call to the pen takes us to Clay Holmes, member of a big league opening day roster for the first time in his career. Made his major league debut with the Pirates all the way back in 2018. Made a career high 35 relief appearances with the Bucks last year. May recall he suffered a fractured right foot during spring training in a game this season. It was Nelson Cruz who lined a ball off his foot. He was exclusively in relief last season for the first time in his pro career, and he gets Yadier Molina in this spot. And Yadi sends a sinking liner into left. Base hit! And a run will score. That's Goldschmidt. He comes in to score, and that makes it a 3-0 St. Louis lead on the first pitch from Clay Holmes. 3-0 Cardinals.
Well, Yadi doesn't waste any time. We know that in a situation where he has the chance to drive in runs, that Yadi's going to be aggressive. He's geared up, and he just sees a breaking ball up. It's away. It's not in a terrible location, but it's up enough for Yadi to do something with it.
And in steps Dexter Fowler, who homered back in the 5th inning, a solo shot. Runners at first and second. Fowler is struck out, long at bat back in the 2nd inning, and that home run, and there's strike 1. Wasting no time is Yadier Molina. Went down to get it. That run charged to Musgrove, who pitches 5 2/3. And the 0-1 pitch. 0-2 the count. Take you back to the 5th inning. 1-2 pitch. Drove it all over the wall and right. And a solo shot for the Cardinal right fielder.
Tell you what, there's no sneaking a fastball on the inner half that's going to catch any of the plate. You're not sneaking that by Dexter.
It's been so much focus on, and rightfully so, Dylan Carlson and Bader and Lane Thomas and Carpenter having a good camp. Don't overlook the 67 that this guy brought in last year and the 19 home runs and the impact that he could have.
Second highest on base percentage on the team. I mean, he's a guy that he gets it done. It's not always like flashy. It's not always wow, look at that. But at the end of it, you go look and say, all right, well, looks like the back of his baseball card.
Bell, Musgrove, Cardinals strand a pair, but Yadier Molina with 2 outs, bringing in Goldschmidt, extends the Cardinal lead, 3-0.
3-0 Cardinals in the top of the 7th inning in the season opener for the Redbirds. And baseball's shortest season ever will now see the longest postseason ever. Last night, Major League Baseball and the Players Association announced it would have expanded playoffs for the 2020 season, increasing from 10 to 16 teams. Of course, 8 best-of-3 wild card series. First and second place teams in each division will make the postseason. In a need to eliminate travel, the top seeds will host all 3 home games in each series. So that means with these newly expanded playoffs for the 2020 season, more than half of Major League Baseball teams will in fact get a playoff spot this season. So those best-of-3 series could certainly provide for some drama late in the season. But Mike Shildt said he hadn't really had an opportunity to look completely at the details with the new expanded playoff rules this season, but he said he liked the opportunity that it created.
All right, Erica, thank you. It creates drama. I mean, 16 teams now, Brad, going to postseason play.
Yeah, and understandably, Schilte's not going to dig into the ins and outs of that because his job and his focus is winning day in and day out. But Dan,
grounding to second.
We can dig into it and talk about how there's a monster race for the 7 remaining spots in each league. I think it's going to be fun. I don't know what it's going to look like next year, Dan, if this is going to be something that continues for next year. But you and I were talking about this aspect of it, that, I mean, it's pretty much telling you that expansion is coming at some point. They're going to bring a couple of more teams into the mix, and then, you know, maybe the half of your teams making the postseason, maybe that makes a little bit more sense. But for 2020, man, let's see what happens. Let's make it interesting.
Well, it's a blank canvas.
That's right.
This year. And many thought we wouldn't be to this point of an opening night. Here we are playing baseball.
Well, I'm thinking about also the excitement for all of a bunch of fan bases that don't generally get an opportunity to play postseason baseball, and their teams might be in the thick of things at the end of this 60 games. I mean, that's fun for everybody.
Well, pitch count right now 71 for Jack Flaherty. 1 out here in the top of the 7th. You got Josh Bell and Colin Moran. I don't know what you're thinking, but I'm thinking if this is an efficient inning, his spot does not come up in the order. If he has a quick 8th, now I'm getting way ahead of myself, but you know, Mike was talking about the fact you can get to 85, 90 pitches. He's made this look, and it's anything but effortless. I get it. But man, it's looked easy. It's looked fluid. It's looked smooth. How far do you go with Jack Flaherty tonight?
Look, I'm thinking what you're thinking. I think that you just keep trusting it. And 73 pitches right now with 1 out in the 7th. You're feeling great about what you see. So feel very confident and comfortable. Again, if everything goes smoothly this inning, you roll him back out there again. You see what happens.
It's got to be in the back of his mind.
Of course.
The 2-2 pitch to Josh Bell. Full count on Bell. One of the key at bats in this game for Flaherty was runners at first and second. And at that time, he had given up a couple of hits in the 4th inning, had only 1 out, and got Bell. Then got Moran. That's hit up the middle, slowly hit. And Bell is safe at first. Cardinals unquestionably will take a look at this. Bell was hustling. There was a little bobble on the exchange to try to get it to first. Looked to be safe. We'll take a look here. And he is indeed safe. That's the right call.
Credit to Bell for busting it out of the box right there. And I do think, I mean, that's the right play. Your momentum is taking you across. I know that Colton Wong is behind DeYoung on that play, but your momentum takes you. But it is just that little bobble that kind of changes things.
And that may change then the thinking of Mike Shildt.
Certainly could until this ground ball.
That changes the thinking back. You get a double play and you say, well, okay,
we're efficient again.
You're right. The manager's seat, especially on an opening night, a short summer camp, and the craziest of seasons, with a young man that said, I'm ready to, you know, he came into this summer camp and said, I could probably give you 5 right now. That tails away for a ball. Colin Moran has flied to left and also struck out swinging. Well, anytime you have a shift, you think about how you have to turn a double play. If it's hit to the third baseman, DeYoung is the one that's going to have to turn it. 1-1 pitch. And a base hit into center field. That ball was left up, and now the tying run will come to the plate. So an infield hit, base hit to center, and Osuna will be the batter, and he popped 10 home runs a year ago. Mike Maddox out to visit the Cardinal pitching coach. Edward Jones would like to congratulate the Cardinals 2020 Hall of Fame class, which includes Tom Hurd, John Tudor, and Bill White. Edward Jones is proud to partner with the Cardinals to recognize the organization's most cherished assets. They're Hall of Famers. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. And if you don't know, the Cardinals Hall of Fame class has been postponed, the official induction ceremony, until next year. So we'll have the official Hall of Fame class go in next year, but they are Hall of Famers. Congratulations, John Tudor, Tommy Hurd, and Bill White. So here we go. Runners at first and second. 3-0 our score. And Osuna 0 for 2 is grounded out to short and also struck out. And strike one. Jack would love that double play here.
Well, he got the big hack from Osuna right there. He was geared up trying to do something. You throw a little slider down and away, you can get a ground ball if he doesn't swing over it.
He's had 5 ground ball outs tonight, 5 strikeouts, and the 0-1 ground ball, glove by Edman, knocked it down, and the bases will be loaded. Hard hit kept in front by Tommy Edman, and the bases are loaded.
Tommy saved at least 1 run right there on that play. I mean, that ball is going down the line. Definitely one coming in. And he threw the breaking ball, just ended up catching way more of the plate than Jack wanted it to.
He's had a couple of those breaking balls hang just a bit this inning.
Yep, and it goes back to the eyeball test again. We were talking about Jack Flaherty, Schulte, how they go forward. Well, you got to trust your eyes. And it's amazing how fast it can happen in an inning. You look like you got everything going, then a couple of pitches, got a play that maybe isn't turned or made, and then all of a sudden it changes on you.
And that pitch taken inside. Heredia struck out on a curveball back in the third and lined out. So 3 singles in a row, 2 of which have been infield hits. Bell, Moran, Osuna. They're all loaded up with 1 out here in the top of the 7th. Pitch number 82. Nasty. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ryan Helsley warming up in the Cardinals pen. The hard thrower that can hit triple digits for St. Louis.
Not that we got the opportunity last year to see Jack Flaherty pitch out of much trouble. Certainly in the second half didn't have much of it. But this is where you step up right here. This is where you got to keep. It's 83 pitches. You might be starting to feel it a little bit physically. Got to keep the mechanics in check. Got to focus on this just 1 pitch.
And a swing and a miss. Evens it up at 2-2.
Another good slider.
This will be pitch number 20 of the inning. Went 1 for 4 in this spot a year ago. The 2-2. And miss low. Big pitch in the ball game right here for Jack Flaherty. What do you think he goes with?
Well, look, I'm really surprised Heredia took that one there. I think he's going to go fastball down and away, though. I think he dots the corner. A lot of his punch outs come with that pitch anyhow.
They're all loaded up. 1 out. Count of 3 balls, 2 strikes. The next by Flaherty. And he got him. Gets the call on the bottom of the strike zone.
It's a good pitch. It is a good pitch. Jack has done a really nice job tonight of keeping the fastball down. It's dangerous in that count. You've shown him a couple of breaking balls already. You're going to the heater. It has to be located really well. And it certainly is right here. Not out of trouble completely yet, but what a pitch right there at the bottom of the zone by Jack Flaherty.
So he gets the strikeout. And 1 more to go. Jacob Stallings with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Swing and a miss. Stallings was called out on strikes back in the 3rd. Popped out into foul territory. Pitch number 88 here. So what went from would he maybe go another inning or 2 is now probably this could be his final batter.
Yep, I think it'll do it. It's time to finish this thing off in style.
And the 0-1 pitch by Flaherty. Hit the other way. Base hit. Sneaks under the glove of Goldschmidt. 1 run in. Here comes another. And 2-run score. And the Pirates get on the board and cut the lead to 3-2. Jacob Stallings drives in 2 with that base hit to right, and the tying run is now at 3rd base.
Just a fastball that's up. He get the strikeout of Heredia was down bottom of the zone. This one just up a little bit too high, catches too much, and Stallings doesn't try to do a ton with it. He just tries to put the ball in play and shoots it the other way.
Gerard Dyson. Runners at the corners. Little tapper out in front of the plate. Flaherty makes the play. So the Pirates pick up 2. They get their first 2 runs of the season, and that makes it a 3-2 ball game as we head to the 8th. Honda dealers home run inning. $1,000 will be donated to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri if a Cardinals player hits a home run. Cardinals have popped a couple of home runs this evening. One of those by Tyler O'Neill back in the 3rd, and the other by Dexter Fowler in the 5th. St. Louis with a lead on this opening night of 3-2. Second inning of work by Clay Holmes. Up and in to Tyler O'Neill. O'Neill 1 for 2. Home half of the 7th. Some different rules to be aware of. The 3-batter minimum now in Major League Baseball when a reliever comes in. At some point we'll have a game head to extra innings if and when that happens, as O'Neill grounds it to 3rd baseman Colin Moran. A man at second begins in scoring position. That's how that inning starts. You just begin with a runner in scoring position in the 10th inning. We talked about it a little bit earlier, Brad, but the schedule, play within the division and interleague play, geographic alignment is the idea that to cut down on travel. And the Cardinals this season will play in the Field of Dreams. Cardinals will play Chicago in the Field of Dreams.
I think that's going to be kind of cool.
No doubt.
Have you been there?
I have not, and I really want to see it.
Me too. I really do. That's on the bucket list for me.
Here's some Bader over 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Cardinals have struck out 7 times in this ball game. Ryan Helsley continues to throw, and that would be an indication that he would have the 8th more than likely. Breaking ball and a strike, and it's 1-1. Richard Rodriguez throwing for Pittsburgh in their pen. A ball and a strike. Cardinals have begun the satellite camp, if you will, which is run by Jose Oquendo, which includes some of the recently selected draft picks and top prospects in the organization. There is no minor league season this year, which is so unfortunate. No minor league baseball, but yet they can have inter-squad games, work on drills. They've got one of the best instructors in the world in Jose Oquendo, and some of the coaches from the minor league system of the Cardinals. That's in Springfield, Missouri.
That is going to be extremely beneficial for those guys that are fortunate enough to be a part of that camp, and certainly we'll see some of those guys here. There will be the back and forth. I mean, that's your taxi squad that's there.
Fisted out to shallow center, and the catch is made by the second baseman Adam Frazier. A reminder that Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light Homers. Tweet Bud Light Homers and sweepstakes for a chance to win today's home run ball. By Jack in the Box. Order Jack's $5.99 Southwest Cheddar Cheeseburger Combo for delivery and make it a double for $1 more. And by Toyota, let's go places. Here's Colton Wong. Jack Flaherty tonight, 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 6, 89 pitches, 62 of which were strikes. Colton Wong with a triple his last time up. If you go back to last season, that's now 9 quality starts for Jack Flaherty. Ended last season with 8 in a row. This one tonight. So he picks up right where he left off.
Look, 7 strong in the opener here without having a real buildup. I'm pretty sure that you will take that every single time.
You bet.
And you can also bet that after this one, when Jack is talking to the assembled media, he probably won't be thinking about it as highly as we are, because that's who he is. That's what he is. He's a perfectionist. He wants everything to go perfectly. He saw that last inning get away from him a little bit, but that's what I love about him.
That's hit up the middle, and oh, what a play here by Newman, and threw it away. That heads into the Cardinal dugout. That'll be a base hit for Wong and an error on Newman. This was a team last year that was at the bottom of Major League Baseball defensively. Pirates made 121 errors a season ago. They had the second worst fielding percentage in Major League Baseball, 980. That was barely ahead of Seattle for the worst in all of Major League Baseball. Good play by Newman, though, just to get there.
It's a good play, and it's a tough one, too, because it's tough to eat that. You know that Colton Wong runs really well, but you got some momentum. You want to try to turn it and burn, but that puts you in a bad spot right there with 2 outs, throwing that thing away.
So the second base hit for Colton Wong. Back to the top of the lineup with Wong's base hit. Now Tommy Edman. Cardinals Magazine commissioned an exclusive bobblehead of Yadier Molina. You can get yours by signing up for a 2-year subscription to the best publication in baseball. Visit cardinals.com/magazine or call 314-345-9000. So base hit, Aaron Newman, and now Tommy Edman. At an infield hit back in the third. 1 for 3 tonight. Looks at strike one. Should also mention, too, if you haven't been paying attention, it starts with a 30-man roster. After 2 weeks, goes to 28. And then after 2 weeks of that, it's down to the original 26. It was going to be a 26-man roster originally after spring training was through this season. And the 0-1 pitch now to Tommy Edman. A ball and a strike. Such a fascinating year this year in baseball.
It is. I was going to ask you your thoughts on the extra innings in general, Dan. I mean, I understand why they're doing it. It's a new look that we've ever had. How do you feel about it?
I'm okay with it. I get it. I know you want to get players back home safe, get them out of the ballpark, and also protect your pitching. That to me is very important, especially early on. So you could have like what we had. How did that not hit Edman? We had a game last year, 19 innings in Arizona. And you think about how these pitchers may not be going deep into games, and you may have relievers that are only available for an inning. And if you had a 17 or an 18 inning game, that could crush you the rest of a season. So I understand why they're doing it.
I do too. Look, the Cardinals are an outlier. They're kind of insulated from something like that, having multiple guys out in their bullpen that are stretched out to be starters. But not everybody's quite as fortunate. I will say, though, without 19 inning games, I don't know how we're going to get in talk about our favorite breakfast foods.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good time.
That was great. The 2-1. Edman out in front. Or if we're trying to get home, how we're going to change our flights multiple times.
Yeah, one of us did that.
That one would be me.
A really good breaking ball right there. He's had a couple of those. Holmes has. He hasn't left too many of those up over the zone. Tommy, though, man, Tommy has been so good at just shooting the ball up the middle. He's really tough with 2 strikes. Be a big knock right here.
And the 2-2 pitch. Edman swing and a miss, and he strikes out. So Holmes, scoreless inning. We have played 7. On opening day 2020, it's 3-2 St. Louis. The Blues face the Blackhawks for an exhibition Wednesday night. You can see the game on Fox Sports Midwest Plus. Blues Blackhawks Wednesday 5:30 on Fox Midwest Plus. I got to be honest, Brad, I never thought I'd be reading a Blues exhibition against the Hawks in July, but hey, we're in a little different time in sports.
Welcome to 2020 again, Dan.
You got it. Ryan Helsley, welcome to 2020 in the baseball season. Our Chevy call to the pen. Andrew Miller begins to throw. Remember, 3-batter minimum, so Helsley's got to face Newman, Reynolds, and Frazier. Miller could be there to turn around Bell. We'll see. Ryan Helsley, you never know. I mean, this could be a closer of the future, maybe called upon to close some games before this season is through, too.
Well, his name was talked about a lot when it came to closing out ball games, and rightfully so.
Pitch is popped up. Yachty near the screen with room. He's got it, and that's the first out here in inning number 8. Jack Flaherty tonight went 7, gave up 2 runs. That was last inning. 6 hits, 6 strikeouts, no walks. Helsley gets the first. I just think Helsley, if he can find consistency with his breaking pitch to go along with high to maybe triple digits, watch out. The sky's the limit for this young man.
Oh, for sure. I mean, even that one right there, it was kind of up in the zone, wasn't exactly where he wanted it. But the thing is, when you have 100, 101 in your back pocket, anything that's a change of pace is going to look good. But that is next level for him. He's getting the feel for that slider, cutter, and also the curveball to lefties. I mean, getting that thing coming out of his hand correctly.
Reynolds 0 for 3. Hit one shy of the track in right. Hit into a fielder's choice and grounded out. 2 balls and no strikes.
No, it wasn't a strike there, but that's the better curveball. I mean, that's the action that you want to see from Ryan Helsley. That thing coming out of his hands straight downhill.
And the 2-0 pitch now from Ryan Helsley. Now, one of the rules in the game, no tobacco use, sunflower seeds, and generally speaking, spitting. And Brian Reynolds has done that a couple of times. Umpires are supposed to warn the players, and it's not like you're going to get a strike called on you if you're at the plate, but they're supposed to say, hey, if you can, remember, don't spit. And it's, you know, it's a baseball thing. It's out of habit. Guys do it. They've been doing it since they were little leaguers.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard one to break. I feel the same way about a pitcher going to their mouth, like licking the fingers on the way back up and wiping them off. That one as well, a no-no. You understand why, but habits are hard to break.
Little fly ball out to left. O'Neill under it. There's out number 2. To combat it for pitchers, they are actually able to have in their back pocket a wet rag. So if they want to have a wet rag in their back pocket, now think about how times have changed.
Yeah,
you can have a wet rag in your back pocket. Also, the rosin bag, there's that rosin bag right there. They are able to bring their own rosin bag out to the mound, and then if they are replaced, they're to take that rosin bag with them and put it in their own, you know, personal bag.
Dan, I can't remember anything when I leave. I guarantee when I leave here today, I'm going to leave something.
I would agree.
That's a lot of responsibility.
I understand.
You and I were working earlier across the street. I left my sunglasses over there.
And I left my
your sweatshirt.
My sweatshirt that you had to bring back over here. Here's Adam Frazier and the 1-0 pitch with 2 outs. Now that's the pitch right there.
That's it, man. That's the one that just goes in right under the hands. It starts out right on the inner half of the plate. See that good tight spin right there. When you're watching a slider and you just see a dot, that means it's a tight break. When you see a circle, that's a tough one. That's one that you'll want back.
Helsley has gotten the first 2. Newman popped out to Molina in foul territory. Reynolds a lazy fly ball to left. And now Frazier in the hole. 1 ball and 2 strikes. This is where the Cardinals might be able to separate themselves from others. Good starting pitching, depth in their bullpen. You can see that here. We'll see if it plays out. The 1-2 pitch. Popped foul and out of play.
See Yachty back there. He just wants that thing up in the zone a little bit. He believes that Frazier is going to swing through that thing if it's a little bit above belt high. Just able to fight and stay alive there.
And the 1-2 again. Tapped foul. Again, the 1-2 pitch by Helsley. Cubs shut out the Brewers tonight 3-0. Kyle Hendricks complete game shutout, went 9 innings. 3 hits, no runs. Reds beat the Tigers 7-1. Votto and Moustakas both homering for Cincinnati. The 2-2 runs the count full.
It's a good at bat right here by Frazier. He was tough to punch out last year as well. Struck out 75 times in 554 at bats. I mean, he just battles up there. And again, not your prototypical 3-hole guy, but he just gets on base. He's just pesky.
The 3-2 pitch and a fly ball. Spinning O'Neill around with room, makes the catch on the track. Ryan Helsley, a 1-2-3. 3, 4, and 5 due up. Goldschmidt, DeYoung, Carpenter. Cardinals with a lead on opening night. Opening night here at Busch, the Bud Light Seltzer plays of the game. Jack Flaherty was terrific. 7 innings, couple of runs, 6 hits, strikes out 6, no walks. How about the offense? Got started with Tyler O'Neill, home run. That was into the Pirates bullpen. Dexter Fowler went deep into right. Cardinals would tack on another. Led 3-0. Pirates got a couple of runs against Flaherty late. Made it 3-2, and now it is Richard Rodriguez out of the pen and the third pitcher used by Pittsburgh tonight.
Hey, Dan, look, I am all for drama. I love tight games. I find them interesting. I find them compelling. That being said, I'd be totally fine with tacking on a few. I feel like they got the right part of the lineup for that.
Again, I think this is where the Cardinals will be able to separate themselves against teams, getting into bullpens with teams that have been hit with COVID-19. Keone Kela is not in their bullpen right now. We know he can be dominant for the Pirates. They're without Polanco. They're without one of their top prospects. So that is a storyline across Major League Baseball, really in sports, but certainly with baseball as we start this thing up. So Rodriguez, third pitcher used. Joe Musgrove, the starter, went 5 2/3. Holmes, inning and a third, no runs. Musgrove gave up 3. And now Rodriguez, 2-1 pitch to Goldschmidt, who's flied to right, walked in the 4th, and singled and scored in the 6th. 3-1 the count. Shift on the left side. 3-2. And now at 3-2, Frazier moving towards the second base side. Goldschmidt hits it deep in the hole, sliding. Newman gets up, throws, and Goldie beats it out. It's an infield hit and his second hit of the night.
This one just deep in the hole right here. Newman makes a strong throw. Just a little off. Got a little something going here.
Paul DeYoung, pair of strikeouts and a walk. Shift on the left side. Well, we saw in some of the games we did in spring his ability to take the ball to right. He was making a conscious effort of doing that. And time will tell if that carries over into regular season play. It backs up for a ball inside.
I'll tell you what, that's the pitch, not specifically the one that leaks to the inner half, but Rodriguez does have the slider he likes to go to. That thing away, might as well take it the way that it's, you know, being pitched. If it's away, shoot it that way. Goldie, one of the best base runners in the game as well.
1 ball and 1 strike. Often overlooked last year. The defense improved because of Goldschmidt, clearly.
Oh yeah,
but the base running did too.
Well, it's fun to be able to watch batting practice and watch the little stuff that special players work on. And Goldie's a special player, and he works on everything. Works on the lead. He works on taking extra bases.
High fly ball, deep left field, at the wall, gone! 2-run homer, Paul DeYoung. Couple of strikeouts early, so what? He strikes late with this 2-run shot, and the Cardinals shortstop has his first of 2020.
We talked about Paul DeYoung earlier, a guy that can get hot, a guy that can make a huge impact, certainly in 60 games. And a big swing of the bat right there. A couple of insurance runs. This fastball here just catches middle third, about thigh high, and you don't want to leave it there for Paul DeYoung.
Extends the lead to 5-2. And Carpenter pops that foul. 2-run homer by Paul DeYoung. We've had a couple of solo shots, one by O'Neill, the other by Fowler, and this 2-run homer by Paul DeYoung. Just pulled the hands in, didn't he?
That's it.
And Carpenter went, and it's 0-2. Matt on the night, a walk, a strikeout, grounded into a fielder's choice, and some insurance late for St. Louis.
Tell you what, crowd went wild on that. Did you hear it? They loved it.
All across St. Louis, they did.
Right. That's right. Household screaming right now. That's what it's all about, too. You've been missing this, missing this. We've been missing you.
One ball, 2 strikes on Carpenter. '75th career home run for Paul DeYoung. Remember, they hit 3 opening day homers last year in Milwaukee, and the Cardinals with 3 on this opening night. Ground ball hit to the right side from the outfield grass. Frazier to make that play. Kim was up and throwing, and now Tyler Webb starts to throw with a 3-run lead. You know, Brad, you did both. You were a starter, you were a middle reliever. Sometimes you'd be asked to get up and close. That's going to be one of the things I think that will be interesting in watching KK, who has been predominantly in 13 years in the KBO, a starter.
Yeah, how you pace yourself.
That's right.
Yeah, and how you get yourself ready. And I don't care how long you've been playing.
And Yachty shoots one into the gap in left center, and the catch is made by Dyson.
I don't care if you've been playing this game, you're a rookie, or you've been playing a long time. Look, if you've had one role and that's how you prepare for it, going into the bullpen is going to be a little bit different. So he's just going to have to trust himself. He's going to have to learn, you know, when he gets hot down there to back it off a little bit, because things can change quickly. But I'm looking forward to seeing KK.
By the way, it was this date last year in Pittsburgh that Paul DeYoung, and I know it feels like probably a century ago, but it was this time, this date last year, PNC Park, that Paul DeYoung had his 3-home-run game.
That was a fun night, too.
He's got a home run tonight against these Pirates.
I mean, I got a feeling that the Pirates last year kind of got sick of seeing the Cardinals.
And really, you know, the Pirates and the Cardinals played so many tough series over the last, I'd say, 5-7 years. Saw each other in postseason play. Pirates got better. Had Garrett Cole. And there's the strikeout of Dexter Fowler. So after the home run, the Cardinals ground out, fly out, strikeout. But Goldschmidt the base hit. And DeYoung the blast. Little insurance on this opening night. It's 5-2 St. Louis. KK is in, and the other day in the exhibition game, he struck out the side to finish off the Royals. Brad, he did so in impressive fashion.
Yes, he did. Punched out the side, and look, he's just so aggressive in the strike zone. I think that there is some sort of an advantage to not really knowing a player. You don't have a book on Kim. It's his first year in the big leagues. That's one thing, but his stuff is just good. I mean, he's throwing 94 at the knees. He's got the wipeout slider, a good split as well. Enjoyed watching him this spring and this summer camp.
So Kim in to pitch. Lane Thomas takes over in right field. There's Lane, his first action of 2020. He's in for Dexter Fowler. Cardinals turning around Bell, the switch hitter. His lesser side is this side. And he yanks that foul. He's got that long stride and deception. Adam Wainwright worked out with Kim when baseball was shut down here in St. Louis, and he said, man, playing catch with him even, just deception with the long stride.
Yeah, he reaches out there with the leg, and the arm is kind of dragging behind. You're waiting for it to come, and then it's just like a whip.
We have also seen, whether it was in spring training or even the other day or exhibition games, how quickly he works, the pace at which he goes. Pulled sharply off of Edman, and that'll be a base hit. Hard hit ball by Josh Bell. That was 103 miles per hour off the bat.
Just kind of a hop right there that ends up catching Tommy Edman right on the heel of the glove. And if you're KK, well, let's go get yourself another one of those ground balls right there.
Colin Moran. Moran tonight fly to left, struck out, and singled and scored. Last Cardinal with a save in their major league debut. Do you know who it was?
I don't.
Well, just take a guess.
Was it me?
Yes, it was.
Little different scenario, but yeah. All the way back in 05?
Yep.
Somebody was due to do it.
Did you go 3 innings, or was it a true save?
Oh, no, it was a 3 inning.
Okay.
Yeah. We scored 11 in the second. I figured it'd be my time.
That's down in the corner. Dug out by Thomas. Quickly back into the infield, and just like that, the tying run comes to the plate. That ball that Bell hit was ruled an error on Edman. And now the double by Moran. And Osuna will have a chance to tie it up. Tying run comes to the plate.
Wow, this just a little slider here from Kim. Just kind of hangs up there. It's not that one we were showing the highlights a second ago as he was entering the game against the Royals in the exhibition the other day that was just darting out of his hand. This one has a little bit of a hump in it, but they've got a little bit of a cushion right now. That 2-run home run by DeYoung was huge at this point. It's time for Kim to just settle in right here and just worry about this guy right now.
Osuna hit 10 home runs a season ago. Runners at second and third. Flaherty went 7. That's hit down the line and foul. Elsley a scoreless 8th, and now Kim, and some of these pitches are kind of floating in and up.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, the breaking ball's not coming out of Kim's hand really well. We spent a little time earlier in the game talking about Jack Flaherty. Now, he had a couple that he got under, not very many. Jack was very good tonight. But Kim is just letting his fingers get under the baseball a little bit. Just got to stay back a tiny bit, keep his fingers on top of it, and he'll get that true downward movement he's looking for.
Nothing in 2. Kim last year a 17-game winner in the KBO. He's been an MVP in that league in his 13 years. He had Tommy John 3 years ago. And trying to finish it off and win number 1 of 2020. The 0-2 pitch. Tapped foul. Five to 2 our score. Cardinals picked up a run on a Tyler O'Neill home run in the 3rd. Fowler home run in the 5th. Another run in the 6th. Paul DeYoung 2-run homer moments ago in the bottom of the 8th. And the 0-2 pitch kept in front by Molina.
Dan, I think we've seen this a time or two.
Textbook right there.
Yeah, just getting right in front of it, just smother it. Catchers at home, young catchers, watch him, watch everything that he does. You're going to be wanting to pick up some traits from Yadier Molina.
The 1-2 pitch by Kim. Ground ball, base hit into center. 1 run in, Another will score. It is now a 1-run lead for the Cardinals. It's 5-4 and still nobody out.
It's another slider here from KK, just not able to bury this one like he wanted to, and not hit hard, just a ground ball right up the middle, but found its spot. Look, things have not gone the way that KK wanted up to this point. You still got a 1-run lead. You're a ground ball away from 2 outs.
Mike Maddox coming out with the translator. Kim is the second player from South Korea to play for the Cardinals, joining Seung-Hwan Oh. He was here in 2016 and 17. 15th player all-time in Major League Baseball from South Korea. You can just see, though, his stuff is not nearly as sharp as it was the other day.
No, and I think that that's something as well. Who knows if it has anything to do with it, but when you've been a starter your entire career, then you transition into the bullpen, kind of how you bounce back. You're used to your routine after starting. You have your 4 days in between to do all of your work, and maybe it ends up being a little bit different. You have 2 days off now, and then you're right back at it in the 9th inning.
I was about to ask you that. Just having a couple of days now in between these, how much of a factor is that?
No, it is a factor, and it's certainly a factor when you haven't done it before. John Gant getting up and throwing. He's no stranger to tight games late. But this is where you get to learn a lot about yourself as a pitcher, and for Mike Maddox and for Schulte, you get to learn a little bit about Kim, how he reacts under this pressure here.
Heredia now, and the bottom of this lineup, 7, 8, and 9. And a fly ball lifted into right. Thomas with the catch. That's an all-important first out. Last season, the Cardinals had 52 saves. And Carlos Martinez at the top of that list. Jordan Hicks, Andrew Miller, John Gant. Bunch of guys, all kinds of saves.
Tell you what, it's nice to be able to have a lot of guys that you can trust down there and can give the ball to in various situations. Because you'll need it. You'll need it throughout the year. Even if you have your designated quote-unquote closer, you'll need some other guys to fill in.
Jacob Stallings had a huge hit for the Pirates to get them on the board back in the 7th inning. A 2-out base hit to right with the bases loaded against Jack Flaherty. That scored 2, and that cut the lead to 3-2 at the time. Kim is thinking ground ball double play. He is struck out looking. That was back in the 3rd. Popped out in foul territory to Goldschmidt. And that single that scored 2 in the 7th. Kwang Hun Kim, 6'2", 195 out of Seoul, South Korea. And that's tapped foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Twice in his career, a 17-game winner. Most recently last year, 17-6, 190 innings. You look at the walk totals his last 2 years. Doesn't walk many. Only walked 38 a year ago, 30 the year before. Nearly 200 innings. And a lot of strikeouts. Good pitch there.
Yeah, well, there's that downhill, right? I mean, you got Stallings chasing a little bit right there. He's trying to be aggressive, trying to make something happen. But that's the type of action that Kim has when he's at his best. It's just everything is downhill. Just seen a few too many pitches this inning, spinning up there a little bit and in the middle of the plate. The other day against the Royals, he was spotting every corner. See if he could bury this slider down and in. It's better.
1 ball and 2 strikes with 1 out. Off the end of the bat and foul. And down those right and left field lines, those are canopies for social distancing for the players. So not only are the dugouts full, but also for players to get socially distanced at times during the games. A ball and 2 strikes. And the next by Kim. Ground ball. Wong. DeYoung to first. Cardinals take game 1 of the 2020 season, and they end it with a 4-6-3 double play.
We waited a while for this one, Danny. Great job by KK to get the ground ball right there. I know it's rocky first outing, but he got the job done. It has been a long wait, Dan, but a beautiful first game.
And well worth the wait. Many months we have waited for baseball. We finally got it tonight. And boy, was it worth it. The Cardinals win it by the final of 5-4. 3 home runs hit. But the main thing, baseball's back. And oh, how sweet it is. The combination up the middle, Wong, DeYoung over to Goldschmidt, and the Cardinals take game 1 of what will be a race to the finish in 2020. Stay with us, much more to come. The post-game show, we're back at it on Fox Sports Midwest. Baseball is back. Hope you enjoyed it. And let's go. The 2020 season is upon us.